Excuse me. Clear my throat. Let me get everything finished here. So that ain't right. Where's that go? All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Report. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. What is this show about? Well, it's about all the things that are trending, the hot topics, the current events, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. We're going to give it to you in a nice little rundown, little cheat sheet for you for your day so that you're not out there wondering, I don't know what they're talking about. They were mentioning something. I hadn't heard anything. Well, if you tune into this show or stream this show Monday through Fridays at noon, you'll never have that experience. All right, let me get the chat room going. Who's in the chat room? Everything on this thing is a little bit weird right now. There we go. All right. Somebody in the chat room say hi. I see Gary's in there. I see Jeff's in there. I see Leslie. I just need to make sure this is all set up. Put the chat window. There you go. It's up. It's up, dude. I know. Jeff just fell victim to the 15-second delay. I do something, and then he responds to it. Hey, Dustin's here. Hi, everybody. All right, little programming note. Last night's show, we didn't do Pugs and Parker with E. We didn't do that last night because we were recording a special project, and that will continue on into tonight. So there will be no Pugs and Parker tonight either. I'm sorry, but trust me, what we're doing instead is important, and there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people involved in this special project, and to get a time when everybody's available to work on this. It's we went long last night too. We went long, but more about this in the coming days. You'll know. We don't keep things a secret for long. It's just right now it can't be discussed publicly. So that news is coming. Also, may I direct your attention to the tip bar? Please tip the show. Seriously, guys, we're dying here. I'm gonna see. We got. We're just going to see. Tip the show. You can help us out via Venmo or Cash App. We do 2 shows every day. We do the High Noon Report stream, which is Monday through Friday. That usually goes a couple of hours. And we also do the Pugs and Parker with E nighttime stream. All of the previous shows, past shows, can be found at pugscast.com. That's a shortcut. That's a quick little link to our YouTube page. But here's what you got to hit live. Like whenever I go to the pugscast.com page, there's like one video. And I'm like, I've done hundreds of video. Where are all of my videos? Just click on live where it says you get some choices. I don't know. For some reason, they all come up there. I wish they just showed up on the front page. I don't know how to manage my YouTube page. That's obvious. All right, let's get started. What is today and what do we do on this show? Well, we like to bring you up to speed on absolutely everything that you need to know about this particular day. Now, we start out by going back in history and covering the events that have shaped this day throughout time. We talk about some of the people who have passed away, and then we also celebrate some birthdays. So we've got the history, we've got the deaths and the births. Why am I saying the deaths before the births? I don't know, a little different. Mixing it up, I guess, trying to feel... for those of you who are interested, I feel like I'm completely over my allergies. Everything seems to be back to normal, so that's good. It was a hell of a week last week. Last week was so awful. You have no idea, you guys. I ran out of hot water because I was taking so many hot showers. You don't need to know. You don't care. All you care about is what today's about. So let's get into it. It is the High Noon Report with me, Pugs Moran, for the second day of May, year of our Lord, 2023. May 2nd is the 122nd day of the year. There are 243 more of these left. So get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, now a segment that we like to call Antecedently on this day, or erstwhile on this day, previously on. That just seems so pedestrian, so I'm trying to jazz it up. So antecedently on this day, where we go and take a look at the events that have shaped this day throughout history. On this day in 1536, Anne Boleyn. Is that how you say it? Is that how you say it? I don't know. I think I was like 35 when I learned her name wasn't Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn, Queen of England, is arrested and imprisoned on charges of adultery, incest, treason, and witchcraft. All the big charges back in the day. They cut her head off. What she, Henry VIII, right? She was one of these Henry VIII chicks. I don't know. I'm not sure. On this day in 1568, Mary Queen of Scots escapes from the Loch Leven Castle, where she had been imprisoned. Bad day in history to be a queen in medieval Europe. That's what I'm picking up. That's what I'm picking up. We look for these trends. We look for things that have occurred on different years, but on the same day. And I'd say based on the 1536 and 1568, it's a bad day to be a queen in Europe in the 1500s, 1600s. Wait, what would that be? 1400s? Wow. I get so confused. Okay, so I grew up in the 1900s, but they called it the 20th century. That always confused me. I know it's simple. I know it's a very simple way to think about it, but for some reason I overthink it. And I'm like, wait, but 19th century was like 1850. So the 20th century is like 1950. So we're in the 21st century. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This is how we get distracted. On this day, so we're going to move forward here. On this day in 1863, during the American Civil War, Stonewall Jackson is wounded by friendly fire while returning to camp after reconnoitering. I like that word. That's a military word. That's like the least sounding military word, but it's a reconnoitering. That sounds like something that you have to tell the prisoners not to do. I don't want any of that reconnoitering going on. You know what I mean? That doesn't sound like a military term. Anyway, Stonewall Jackson killed by his own troops on this day in 1863. All right, let's run through some big things here. 1945, World War II. Today was a very big day in World War II in 1945. First and foremost, it was on this day. The Soviet Union announced the fall of Berlin. That was a big deal. That was, people took to the streets. I don't know. Did sailors kiss nurses in Times Square? Was that today? I don't know. Not sure. No, because that's the official. The war is over. That's probably in the coming days. Maybe by Thursday we'll get that moment. Also on this day in 1945, concerning World War II, the surrender of Caserta comes into effect, which means that the German troops in Italy stop fighting. They all quit. All the German troops in Italy on this day, they quit. Fall of Berlin announced by the Soviet Union. Then the German army in Italy, who were, doing okay. They're like, okay, I guess we're done here. This is over. We don't have a home. We're going to go back to Berlin, and it's not our home no more. I don't know what that's about. So, they just put down their weapons and gave up. On this day, also in 1945, concerning World War II, the U.S. 82nd Airborne Division liberates Woberlin concentration camp, finding 1,000 dead prisoners, most of whom starved to death. Liberated a concentration camp. So again, on this day, World War II, Soviet says Berlin has fallen. The German army in Italy lays down their weapons and goes, we're not fighting. The U.S. 82nd Airborne liberates a concentration camp. And finally, on this day, in 1942, a death march from Dachau to the Austrian border is halted by the segregated all-missile 572nd Field Artillery Battalion of the United States Army. The last remnants of these Nazi bastards were death marching a bunch of concentration camp victims and prisoners of war. They were death marching them into Austria where they were going to slaughter them. And guess what happened? Good old Uncle Sam shows up. And he said no. It's a big day. It's a big day on this day in 1945, at least as far as things that occurred in World War II. On this day in 1986, the Chernobyl disaster, we've been covering this all week because, I think it was, when was it? Was it on Friday? The first report when it actually happened. And then it was on Monday that Sweden was like, hey, we're getting a whole lot of radiation in Sweden. What's going on over there? It was on this day, the city of Chernobyl, 6 days after the initial disaster. On this day, 6 days after the initial disaster, the city of Chernobyl is evacuated. 6 days. 6 days, these people are just sitting there going, why didn't the sun come out today? What is going on? Why does everything taste? Why don't I have taste buds anymore? These people, for 6 days, they lived in that soup. That's the Soviet way. Do not admit disaster. They wouldn't admit it. They wouldn't admit anything. I told you a story about the Russian planes, commercial airliners. For 30 years, they bragged to the entire world they've never had a plane crash because Soviet technology is so perfect for air flight. And then the Soviet Union falls, and we find out that they had thousands more plane crashes than anybody else. They just never told anybody about it. On this day in 2011, here's another big one. Here's another big one for old Uncle Sam. We killed bin Laden on this day. That's right, 2011. The suspected mastermind behind the September 11th attacks. Suspected? I mean, we pretty much figured, right? History's going to say he did it. Anyway, he was killed. Killed by the United States Special Forces in Abbottabad, Pakistan. Abbottabad. That was cool. I remember that moment. It was a Sunday night. I think I was watching Sunday Night Football, and they interrupted Sunday Night Football, and Obama walked down that hallway, and he goes, "We got him." It was pretty cool. It was like, God damn yes, America! We got him! And all the people celebrating all over. People took to the streets. They did. I remember that. There was a huge party out in front of the White House. I remember that. I remember Times Square. People were in Times Square. You know, all of the usual places where ones gather. What else happened? All right, let's do some birthdays. That's pretty much it. Yeah, we're gonna end the day on the bin Laden death. That's a good one. It's a good one to end on. How about some birthdays? Let's celebrate some birthdays. Born on this day in 1729, Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great of Russia. This guy here, big Catherine the Great fan. In high school and college, and it was because of a high school teacher I had, Virgil Kapuskas, who was a Soviet. He escaped the Soviet Union as a child, came to America and all that stuff. He was a great teacher. We all have these great teachers. This guy was awesome. I took every class that he offered, and I had him freshman year for freshman history, and then every elective in every semester from there on out, I made sure that I didn't even give a shit, right? Ancient medieval history, whatever, it didn't matter. I took them all because this teacher was so good. And a whole lot of his stuff was Russian history 2, and the history of the Soviet. And they were like pretty advanced classes for high school kids. But I took them all. I loved them. I became obsessed with Know Thine Enemy, right? I was a Cold War kid. Soviet Union, I needed to know everything about these people. I needed to know everything that, I needed to be able to know the history so that when I hear the bullshit, I could go, yeah, that's not true. So I became a big fan. Of like Russian and Soviet history. And Russian history is just some of the coolest history that's out there. Those people have been madmen since Jesus walked the earth. I mean, that place is crazy. They got stories, they got legends, they got all kinds of incredible shit in there that we didn't really know about because all of that stuff, Russian culture in general, was pretty much marginalized, if not completely blacked out in this country during the Cold War. We weren't allowed. Do you remember? Here's the propaganda about Russia that we faced. If you were a kid in the 80s like I was, and somebody said, picture a Russian woman, right? You pictured like either some roided out, freakish weightlifter from the Olympics, or you pictured like in those Wendy's commercials. Do you remember the Wendy's commercials where they depicted a Soviet fashion show? And it was all these like fat women in babushkas with gray house coats. They were all wearing the same thing because it was Soviet. And they'd come out and they'd be like, evening wear. And the lady would come out and she'd be wearing this like awful. That is what they tried to make us think Russian women were. And then the Soviet Union fell, and suddenly every porn star is a Russian woman, and we're like, they lied to us. They got some of the most attractive women on the globe. They never told us that during the Cold War. No, they were all depicted as like, sad, frail. If you were 15, you looked like you were 55. Just hard. They lied to us. The other thing that we've been lied to about Catherine the Great on her birthday, born on this day in 1729. How did Catherine the Great die? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the rumors. No, Catherine the Great, popularly, if you ask anybody who thinks they know anything about Catherine the Great, they'll be like, how did she die? And she died banging her horse. She died having sex with a horse. That's right. That's what history says, so it must be true. It's completely not true. Completely not true, but that is the accepted story. Why? Because it titillates us, because it's a better story. She died of a stroke in her bed. She was found by one of her nurses. She was the empress. She was like She was old. She wasn't banging her horse, okay? However, where does that story come from? In the days following the death of Catherine the Great, the enemies of Russia, the French national press and the German national press, who they weren't really friendly with the old Russia, they started circulating this story. And it was complete satire. And at the time, it was intended to be satire. Nobody believed it at the time. But, couple hundred years go by and, people are like, I heard she died banging a horse. And there apparently wasn't somebody around to go, that was satire. And they just went, banging a horse. And then, everybody says she died banging a horse, but that's not true. Catherine the Great, born on this day in 1729. Born on this day in 1936, Engelbert Humperdinck. Yeah, Engelbert Humperdinck, the singer. That's not his real name. Can you believe that? You're like, yeah. No, his real name is normal. His real name is like Archie Morgan or something like that. Changed his name to Engelbert Humperdinck. Born on this day in 1937. Here's somebody. Here's a dude. I like to point out these people that I admire. Lorenzo Music, ladies and gentlemen. Lorenzo Music, born on this day in 1937. Died in 2001. Lorenzo Music is a American. Well, here's why he's so cool. Started out as a songwriter, then kind of got away from that, then became a comedy writer, and he was a comedy writer for the Smothers Brothers back in the 60s. Oh, God, the dog is licking herself, and it's the most irritating sound. Stop that, please stop that. Oh, God, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. This dog just... Oh, my God. Yeah, no, I wasn't calling you. Yeah, that's right. You want to go lick yourself. You go to another room. You be respectful. I don't have a problem with her licking herself. It's kind of what dogs do. But just in front of me and to do it with such, passion and performance. Okay, so Lorenzo Music. I like Lorenzo Music. He started out as a writer, a comedy writer on the Smothers Brothers. Then he became a TV producer. He pitched some TV shows. He's the creator of the Bob Newhart Show, co-creator of Rhoda. He did a whole bunch of shows under Norman Lear. Norman Lear was like, you kid, you got something. But this isn't why I love Lorenzo Music. He was successful. He was a successful television producer and executive, but he was still a performer in his heart. So he ended up doing probably his most notable work as a voice actor. Now, do you remember the show Rhoda? Lorenzo Music first began his career as a voice actor. The show Rhoda, which was a spin-off of Mary Tyler Moore. And Rhoda had a doorman in her New York City building named Carlton. And he was Carlton the doorman. That was Lorenzo Music. He was a producer on the show, and he had a way of speaking that made people laugh. So they said, that should be the doorman. Would you want to be the doorman? And he's like, well, I'm the exec producer here and writer. I don't know about that. So put him in a room, became the doorman. It became like a phenomenon in this country for a while. Who's Carlton the doorman? So I wanted to play you a little bit of Lorenzo Music because I'm a bit of a nerd for... Am I going to be able to do this? Yeah. I'm a bit of a nerd for like voiceover guys and like really good voiceover guys when you hear their voice and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. So here, I want to play a little bit of, here's some Lorenzo Music just so you understand who it is that I'm talking about here. Let me make sure we can share this. I think for a certain generation, he's probably most famous for being the voice of Garfield. He was Garfield before... I don't know who became Garfield. Bill Murray did Garfield in the movie and all that stuff. All right, so here's just a bunch of his voices. All right, so here he is. Let's watch this. That's him. That's the great Lorenzo.
One of those things that, when it's right, it's right. It worked. I think he appeals to the lazy fat slob in all of us. I love Garfield.
Really big Bertha loaded, Colonel Spigot, sir. Would you like me to Ames? Sorry, sir. Aw, but you made a really big boom.
All right, you party animals, it's cleanup time. And how's the most beautiful secretary in the world? Come on, Ray, he's been a...
If you liked cartoons back in the day, this guy was...
Major pain.
But also...
One more...
Hold on,
It's only big, tender chickens. Big chicken. I was a total bore before I served champagne. Now they call me a party animal.
Another perfect three-point landing. 2 feet in my face.
Good morning, Odie. You're not gonna live to see your next birthday. You know that, don't you? I hate dogs.
He wasn't a voiceover guy. He was an executive, and here he is. I just think he's cool. Lorenzo Music, born on this day in 1937. Carlton, your doorman from Rhoda, and Garfield, and Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters, and a whole bunch of other really cool cartoons where they kind of just needed a guy who sounded, not necessarily stoned, but maybe he could be stoned. He was just a great voice. Born on this day in 1947, James Dyson. This is a man incredibly proud of the innovations that he's made in vacuum technology. James Dyson. We shouldn't know who he is, but he put himself in his commercial, so now we're celebrating his birthday. Born on this day in 1948, Larry Gatlin of the Gatlin Brothers. Woo! They were big for about 10 years, and then what? What happened? I don't know. Born on this day in 1950, Lou Gramm. Lou Gramm, this is how you do it. Okay, that's not his song, but Lou Gramm, I saw an interview with Lou Gramm about a year ago or something. I don't know when it was, but it was recently, fairly recently. Excuse me. My allergies are gone, but I still have a little bit of sniffles, so I apologize. Hold on. So Lou Gramm did it right. Okay, he's a rock star. He's a rock star. He's got a big old pile of money. He's living like in the woods in some beautiful house that he probably paid $500,000 for that would cost him $5 million in this neighborhood. Why? Because he's doing it right. Because he knows what he's doing. Lou Gramm was the lead singer of Foreigner. Foreigner, man, they had a bunch of big hits. Again, being Lou Gramm right now is pretty cool. Lou Gramm is how old today? Lou Gramm was born on this day in 1950, so he's 73 years old today. What do you think a 73-year-old Lou Gramm's got on the agenda for today? Anything 73-year-old Lou Gramm wants. He's got a rec room with gold records on the wall. Yeah, he's just standing in the rain in a heavy downpour. Couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold out. Heard the roar of the crowd. Lou Gramm, Foreigner, man. Foreigner 4 is a banger of an album. I'm glad Lou Gramm, he didn't need to be Mick Jagger. You don't need to be Mick Jagger. You don't need, how much is enough? I bet you Lou Gramm's happy with his little bag of cash. I bet you Lou Gramm's happy that he's never really had to work a day in his life because, he tried to be a rock star and it worked out for him. Lou Gramm, I admire thee. Do you remember when he went solo? Lou Gramm had a hit song. He had one hit song. Maybe he had two, but I think just the one is the one I remember. Midnight Blue. It was a good song. As a matter of fact, remember that? Hold on. This is Lou Gramm. I'll play some Lou Gramm solo. Why not? We can't monetize this show. You guys have to help us out by tipping the show in order for us to be able to do these kinds of things. Here. Do you guys remember the Lou Gramm, who was obviously the voice of Foreigner, a bunch of hits? But do you remember his solo? He had a solo. Where is it? Here it is. This is a good song. Totally 80s, but not a bad song. Here we go. All right? What, you're right back in 1985, aren't you? Yeah.
Ain't got no regrets. I ain't losing track of which way I'm going. I ain't gonna double back, no.
This was a hit.
Don't wanna misplay. Put on no display.
He wasn't.
An angel, no, but I know my way.
He wasn't splitting this money with the rest of the boys in Foreigner. This is all Lou Gramm.
Son, life is simple.
See the cherry red? That's all I remember. Oh, midnight blue. All right, happy birthday, Lou Gramm. That's not bad. That's not bad. He's got a bag of cash and he's living in the woods somewhere. At least according to the interview that I saw. He's still got Lou Gramm rock hair. Probably smoking a lot of pot. Just being left alone. And he likes it. He's got his bag of cash. He's got a dependable car. He's got central air. He's got no problems. He's got food in the fridge. Probably got the love of a good woman, some grandkids. He's happy. He's Lou Gramm. He's the guy that was in Foreigner. Happy birthday to him. Happy birthday on this day, 1952, Christine Baranski. I don't know anything about Christine Baranski, and I love Christine Baranski. You want to know why? Christine Baranski came into my studio once for an interview, and I I didn't know who she was. Like, I had no idea who she was. She had been on that show Sybil in the 90s with Sybil Shepherd, where she apparently won a bunch of Emmys, but I didn't watch Sybil, and, you know, it wasn't really my demo. So, but I'm not a mean guy, right? So I always look at this as an opportunity. If I'm going to interview somebody who I don't really know anything about or I'm not that familiar with, I mean, I'll do what I have to do. I'll read the bio provided by the, but you know, I kind of almost like it more because now I get to have questions. Now I get to ask really stupid questions, and that allows the interview subject to open up in ways that they maybe wouldn't. Anyway, so that's how I handled Christine Baranski. Now, my partner Kelly knew who she was, and Christine Baranski comes in, and I think the first thing I said to her was, I go, Miss Baranski, I have to plead ignorant here. I am wholly unfamiliar with your body of work. And she laughed, and she's like, oh, darling, because she's like, that's her whole act, you know, she's kind of like above it all. And so we just had fun. I went down her resume and I asked her like about real early film, and she was great. Long story short, she was great. And when it was over, I walked over and gave her a hug because we had so much fun. And she said to me, she goes, that was the best interview anyone has ever done with me. And I'm like, yeah, because I didn't know anything. And look at what we found out. She's awesome. Christine Baranski, she plays like a snob, like that's her whole thing. But in real life, that's a cool woman. That's a woman who just rolls with it and just has fun. And look, as a radio interviewer, a bit of a chip on our shoulder, because a lot of these people, especially ones that have won Emmys and who are famous, they come in with the attitude that they are basically hanging out with rodeo clowns, right? This is local radio. It really is so a lot of times celebrities come in with a chip, and it's up to the hosts to either get that chip off their shoulder or, you know, turn it into a big fight like, you know, we've had with Dave Navarro, Patti Smith, Tanya Harding, whatever. If you're not going to lose the chip, we'll go at it. Christine Baranski had no chip. As a matter of fact, she saw the opportunity to tell somebody everything about her life, even stuff that her biggest fans obviously know. She found that to be a fun experiment, and we had a good time. Born on this day in Christine Baranski, born on this day in 1952. Born on this day in 1967, Mika Brzezinski. Now, she's part of that Morning Joe show on MSNBC where they're married. They're married. They started out. I mean, that's how you do a workplace romance. You just get married, and that's what they did. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski are married. Mika Brzezinski, born on this day in 1967. Mika Brzezinski does not have her job because she's a better journalist than other of her contemporaries. Mika Brzezinski has her job because her dad was a big new Brzezinski. That's right. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. When I first saw Mika Brzezinski show up on TV like 15, 20 years ago, I immediately went, this is a big new Brzezinski's daughter, isn't it? They're just mainstream. They're just hot, what is called hot shot. They're just hot shotting Nepo babies into the news media as well as in Hollywood. It's the same thing. Zbigniew Brzezinski was an advisor to the Carter administration and the Reagan administration on Soviet matters. He was an expert. He was a Cold War expert. He's a very famous guy in the 1970s and the 80s. And his daughter Mika somehow got the break. She got the break. She got the show on. I wonder if Zbigniew had any friends that he, when his daughter was, you know, looking for her first internship. I wonder if Zbigniew Brzezinski picked up the phone and, you know, maybe called, I don't know, the guy who owns NBC and said, hey, it's Biggie. Look, my daughter needs a job. I'm thinking maybe could we get her an internship? And the owner of NBC said, internship? We're going to put her in our Anchors pilot program and sight unseen. See, that's how it works. Jealous? It's not jealousy. It is not jealousy. It is a refusal to act like that is not an advantage. It's not jealousy. It's I accept it. I accepted nepotism and people get breaks based on, you know, who their daddy was and they were born with silver spoons and all that. I accept that. So jealousy seems to be more of a guttural emotion. I accept it. I accept it as rule, and I like to point it out because I think it needs to be pointed out when we're lauding these people for all of their accomplishments. You know, your Anderson Coopers, who's a Vanderbilt, your Tucker Carlson, who's a Swanson. You know, all of these people, They may do good work, but let's not pretend like it was a fair foot race to the finish line, because it wasn't. just not. Here's another birthday boy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, born on this day in 1972. I love The Rock. I like that Ballers show. It's one of my guilty pleasures. People are like, Ballers is just Entourage for jocks. And I'm like, yeah, I like Entourage too. I like Entourage. I like Ballers. I love the supremely douchey shows of like that period of the 90s. It's fun because it's fun. Because when we were so douchey like that, wearing our Von Dutch hats and, all that kind of nonsense, when we were like that, I don't know, it seemed like at least we weren't hating on each other as much. We were hating on the douches. We had the douches to hate. And now it's like the douches have, I don't know, gone political. I don't get it. Anyway, Dwayne Johnson, I like him. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson draft. No, I'm not going to do a Dwayne. What's it going to be like? Three Fast and Furiouses and a Mummy. He does stupid shit. He does stupid movies. I've never seen, trying to think, have I seen a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie that I've enjoyed? Yeah, that recent superhero movie he did, Black Adam, me and my kid liked that. We thought that was cool. We thought he made a good, funny, interesting, kind of conflicted superhero. So we liked that. But I don't know. I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie. Never seen one. I saw the very first one when it came out. I saw it and I went, that seems like something I'd totally not be interested in. And I've never seen any of them. He did a movie, Dwayne Johnson did a movie with Mark Wahlberg, and it's not Magic Mike, but it kind of feels like it's Magic Mikey. It's like Magic. It's like Magic Mike. He made a movie that's like Magic Mike for dudes that are really homophobic. So they didn't want to go full Magic. Pumping Iron, I think it was called Pumping Up or something. I don't know. They were weightlifters who wanted a furniture store. I don't know, something weird. Maybe I'm describing Magic Mike now. I don't know. Whatever. That movie was all right, though. The one with him and Mark Wahlberg. I think they're in Florida. Am I describing Magic Mike? It sounds like Magic Mike. I don't know. David Beckham, born on this day in 1975. I had drinks with David Beckham. Yeah. Christmas of 1997. Christmas of 1997, I was on my honeymoon. We were in Ireland. We went to Ireland over Christmas, which nobody told us. We thought, it'll be like an ancestral Christmas. It'll be wonderful. What we weren't aware of is that in Ireland, Christmas is a much more religious holiday than it is here, and the entire country shuts down. So there was nowhere to go on Christmas for tourists who were stuck in this nice hotel in the center of Dublin. So the hotel ended up just, locking its doors. It was just an all-day event for just the people staying at the hotel. And, the bar was open and there were songs and there was a room where kids were watching Christmas movies and they had clowns. It was a whole thing. It was nice. So we're at the bar and this is like the nicest hotel. It was our honeymoon. This is like the nicest hotel in Dublin. So we're sitting at the bar. And this is where I started hanging out with the dude in the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. Remember that band? That band, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. One of the dudes in the band was there traveling in Ireland over a Christmas break, and he was at the hotel. And because he was the other American, we were talking to him. Me and him are talking. And then he starts talking about this soccer player who's there. And I didn't know the soccer player, but he was there with his girlfriend, who was a Spice Girl. And that had the whole place buzzing. And the soccer player was David Beckham. I didn't know who David Beckham was yet. David Beckham wasn't really famous yet in America in 1997. And he was up there with Posh Spice. They had one of the penthouses in this hotel. You know who the other one was? Michael Flatley. Michael, the Riverdance guy? Yeah, the two like big people staying at this hotel over Christmas during the lock-in was a Spice Girl, Posh Spice, David Beckham, and Michael Flatley. Michael Flatley, we never saw. Posh, we never saw. David Beckham came down to the bar. David Beckham came down to the bar and sat with the dude from the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones because they had met earlier. And they introduced him to us, and then I'm like, hey, I'm David. I'm like, hey, Pugs, this is my wife, Sloan. We're on our honeymoon. And he's like, oh, congratulations. Let's do a round. And we did a round of drinks, and David Beckham was really nice. And then, like, you know, that whole thing went away. And then, like, 3 years later, he's like the biggest star in the world. I'm like, that's the dude we had drinks with. That's the dude on Christmas when we were locked in. He was with the Spice Girl. Oh, and we were told, don't ask anything about the Spice. Like, don't bring it up. Like, don't bring up. So we didn't. And what was going on? Here was the reason. He brought it up. David Beckham brought it up. David Beckham but he referred to her as my girlfriend. Even though we're all like, he's talking about Posh Spice. You know, who was upstairs? So David Beckham said that the reason that they were there, he was very happy with the lock-in because this was also the weekend that the Spice Girls movie, Spice World, had opened and had their London premiere. So Spice and David Beckham, were hiding out over Christmas in this Irish hotel because they didn't want to deal with all the pandemonium that was going on in England at the time. So they just got away. They just got away for the weekend, and they were locked up in this hotel, the two of them. He was a nice guy. And everybody knew that he was a superstar except for me and my wife. Because, you know, the other people at the bar who knew, they would come up like, okay, can I get an autograph? And people sign an autograph. So nice, really nice to everybody. But again, he wasn't the global sensation David Beckham yet. You know, he was just sort of beginning to become that. David Beckham, happy birthday to you. Born on this day in 1975. Born on this day in 1978. Here's another good one. I love this guy. Kumail Nanjiani. And you know I like him because I took the time to finally learn how to say his name. That's a complicated name through these Western eyes. There's a lot of letters there, and I get lazy. And, you know, sometimes we have a tendency to not pay the name, the exotic fancy name, the respect that it deserves because of, well, you know, whatever reason, and we just get lazy. We don't. But I will commit to learning the name Kumail Nanjiani. Why? Because he's fantastic. He is fantastic in everything that he does. Not only did he first come across my plate as just this terrifically funny, dry, raging humorist. Like he was a cog in the wheel. His sense of humor was, he was just always a cog in the wheel. Almost always like some sort of administrator or somebody working at a desk dealing with some situation, and he would just simmer. Like his rage would, he was a very funny comedic actor. But now he's like a great dramatic actor. He's terrific. He's really great. You know what? Kumail Nanjiani, enjoy your birthday today because you are doing really well. I think Hollywood decided to make, an Indian, that part of the world, a big star because there's a lot of super talented people out there, and that's a huge population in the world, and, you know, Bollywood is big. And I think they wanted to do the dude from Parks and Rec. What was that? Aziz Ansari. I think that's who they wanted, but then he got in trouble. So then they shifted to Kumail Nanjiani, and he made that movie, Lovesick or Sick Love or whatever. That movie was so good. He's good. He's a talent. Happy birthday, Kumail. Born on this day in 1980, another one of my favorites, Ellie Kemper, American actress, comedian, and writer. Oh, I love it. We love Kimmy Schmidt. We love her from The Office. We love her. She is delightful. She is absolutely delightful. Although, here I go. Although it needs to be pointed out that she hails from the wealthiest family in Missouri. Her family are billionaires. You've heard of the Kemper Arena, right? I believe that's where is that where the Blues play? I believe is that the hockey stadium, the Kemper Arena? Yeah, that's named for her. That's named for her family, the Kempers. So, you know, I love Ellie Kemper. I'm glad she got the break, and I'm glad we were all exposed to her because she is delightful. But let's not kid ourselves. The person who didn't get the role on The Office that Ellie Kemper slid into, the person who didn't get that role probably had a shift at the diner. Yeah, Ellie Kemper didn't have a shift at the diner. Ellie Kemper, when you come from the kind of money, Ellie Kemper told a story once about how she met a producer that introduced her to somebody that led to the Office thing. Here's how and she tells it herself, and she doesn't hide it. She knows that she's privileged. She told a story about how there was this like $2,000 a plate fancy political dinner that was happening in LA. And she wanted to sit at the table of a producer so that she could impress him. And so she just bought a couple of plates. Now I'm telling you, that's not something the average struggling actress can do. So there's the advantage. There's the advantage of privilege. We talk a lot about Nepo babies, but there's also privileged babies. There's, let's not, Nepo babies is a big thing. That's the daughter of another actress. That I almost, I can abide that. Because, it's a family business. You get that. But these privileged babies are another category, and I'm just pointing out the fact that they had it easier than other people, and I think that needs to be considered when we talk about how great they are. Yeah, but they had it easier. Which is true. Born on this day in 1985, Lily Allen. Now, Lily Allen is an English singer, but I thought she was a twin with the dude who got his nuts taken off in Game of Thrones. Remember, what was his name in Game of Thrones? It wasn't Gimp. They didn't call him Gimp. Who's her brother? Doesn't say. Oh, never mind. That's not, sorry, that's the wrong one. Anyway, Lily Allen, we're not going to spend any time. She's a singer. I'm not really that familiar with her. Kyle Busch, celebrating a birthday today. Kyle Busch was born on this day in 1985. Kyle Busch, American race car driver. Born on this day in 1987. This is my guy, man. I have so much admiration for this guy, so much respect for what this guy has done in the field of digital creation. Pat McAfee is celebrating a birthday today. Pat McAfee. He's in my opinion, he's currently the best sports pundit entertainer that there is in the business. He's the absolute best. And because he's the absolute best, he has access to the absolute best. So anything, when you're watching a Pat McAfee stream, if you're going, oh, this is some bullshit, I don't know whether or not to believe it coming out of this guy wearing the tank top's mouth, but then, he'll have Schefter on, boop, like that. Then he'll have so-and-so on, whatever. The point is, he's an entertainer. Pat McAfee is an incredible entertainer. When it's somebody that me and my 13-year-old can look at and go, I see it. Do you see it? I totally see it. That's pretty good. Now, why is he such an interesting story? He's an interesting story because he bet on himself. Pat McAfee was a punter for the Indianapolis Colts, and he was a good punter. He was beloved by the teammates. Peyton Manning calls him his favorite teammate. That like if anybody needed a laugh, it was you go hang out with Pat for a while, and the energy will change. Clubhouse, the opposite of a clubhouse cancer. Just a guy that everybody always wanted to be around. Big personality, even when he was punting. And if you want to see him punting, just go to YouTube and put Pat McAfee punting highlights. They're hysterical because he was an entertainer even when he was punting. He's very funny. A lot of people at the time, well, that's bad for the game. Oh, shut up. It's good for the game. He's entertaining. He understands the YouTube world. So they, offered him another contract. And he told the Indianapolis Colts, I don't want to play football anymore. I'm going to go to Barstool. Barstool Sports was an emerging podcast platform focused on sports. And Barstool offered him a contract that was far less than his NFL contract to punt for the Indianapolis Colts. However, they gave him some equity in the company. And he was with Barstool for a period of time, and Barstool did a lot to build up, Pat McAfee, the Pat McAfee Show, and all that kind of stuff. And then his contract with Barstool came to a lapse, and Pat McAfee said, he did the same thing to Barstool that he did with the Indianapolis Colts. He said, I am not going to re-sign with you. Thank you. I appreciate you giving me the platform while I got my legs under me and building this whole thing. But now I'm just going to own the Pat McAfee stream myself. This dude is worth, first of all, let's not even talk about the money he's worth. He's worth more than anybody on ESPN. He's probably worth more than everybody on ESPN's payroll that's on camera combined. And he's doing it all by himself on YouTube every single day. Big fan of Pat McAfee. So fun. This guy is all fun. There's no hate. This guy doesn't rant. He doesn't do the whole, man, I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this team, man. They suck. We got to get rid of this owner. He doesn't do that. That's not the kind of sports talk that he does. He's a fan of sports. He loves, they get twisted and they get frustrated when their teams don't perform, but they're not hatchet men. They're not trying to light the phone lines, man, with crazy hot takes. They're just entertainers. And he's got this room full of guys The chemistry is so wonderful. They obviously love each other. They're obviously all buddies. And it's just a really great listen. So happy birthday to you, Pat McAfee. Born on this day in 1987, man. This old head admires the shit out of what you've been doing. Let's go through some of the deaths, some people who died on this day, because we also have to mourn the passings. Here's a big one. Here's a really big one. Actually, there are some big ones on this day. Leonardo da Vinci passed away on this day in 1519. Italian painter, sculptor, architect, genius. Knew it all. What can I say about da Vinci that hasn't already been said? You know. Dead on this day in 1957, Joe McCarthy, crazy man, Joe McCarthy, senator out of Wisconsin, who started the whole everybody's a communist. And he started making just insane claims. But because he had stirred people up, they started to believe all of his absurd claims. And then one day he collapsed. And they were like, what's wrong with him? And everybody around him is going, well, you know he's crazy as a shithouse rat. I mean, maybe that's why he collapsed. And they're like, but he's against communists, so he's got to be the greatest American ever. Determined that he had serious, serious brain cancer. He had tumors. He had all kinds. He was nuts. He was delusional. He was seeing stuff. But because he was making it okay to hate people and giving the average person who wanted to hate people, giving them ammunition to hate people, he was fine. Yeah, let's listen to him. And then, turns out he's fucking nuts. He was crazy. He was out of his mind. Literally, his brain was riddled with cancer. Dead on this day in 1957. Dead on this day in 1972. Here's another big one. J. Edgar Hoover. That's right, the first director of the FBI. This was a bad man. This is a bad guy. Telling you, all you people like, let's get rid of the FBI. Where the fuck were you people in 1970? Where were you people in 1965? Now you want to get rid of the FBI? By all accounts, the FBI is wildly less corrupt than it was under J. Edgar Hoover. But go ahead. Just forget about the history and let's get rid of the FBI. Okay, fine. And then you realize that there is a need for that service, okay, within our governmental structure. You realize that there's a need for that. So all you're doing are replacing letters, because you're just gonna, let's get rid of the FBI. That'll make the idiots feel good. Yeah, no, they're just gonna call it the National Investigative Bureau. The FBI is gone and the NIB is now a thing. The NIB. And it'll be like, this is better. And it'll be the exact same people in the exact same building, in the exact same desks, just with different logos. And you'll all be happy because you won and you own the libs? What? How is that, owning the libs? Because that's the people who want the FBI gone. People who want the FBI going, this is the far right, because I guess all the Trump investigations and stuff. And man, let me tell you, there's all kinds of corruption going on. So what we do in this country is we root out the corruption. And we don't quit until the corruption has been rooted out. Oh yeah, that's great. That's my co-host, Schizophrenic Me. Sometimes he jumps in. What's your point, Schizophrenic Me? We have never rooted out corruption effectively in this country. We find a scapegoat and we make that guy the catch-all for everything we're investigating, and then we move on. That's absolutely true. We never actually root out corruption. We find one person and we blame them for the entirety of it because we're simple people, because that's easier. And actually thinking it through is difficult. Let's see here. Dead on this day in 1999, Oliver Reed, English actor. I only mention this guy because this guy, by any measurement, is one of the biggest thug, troublemaker, criminal. I mean, Oliver Reed was a train wreck. Go to YouTube and just Oliver Reed interviews. Oliver Reed was not just a little tipsy every day of his life. He was shit-faced drunk. And he's a good actor. Apparently turned in some good performances, shit-faced drunk. In and out of jail, assault, beating up women, just every awful thing that a dude could be a part of, Oliver Reed was a part of. I mean, you find me the worst member of whatever you look to the hip hop community and you find me the worst criminal in hip-hop. And I will tell you that people like Oliver Reed running around in the 1960s was every big a menace to a civilized society. Just walking up and punching people. Went to jail once because he walked up and punched a cop in the face for no reason. He said, he told it in an interview, he said he had lost his friends and he'd forgotten where he was staying and he wanted to go to sleep. So he punched a cop knowing that he'd be arrested and he could just sleep it off in a jail. That was the mentality of Oliver Reed. Proper English gentleman. Okay. Dead on this day in 2009, Jack Kemp, Buffalo native, Buffalo Bill hero, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, went on to become the United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. He was a big political player. I always liked Jack Kemp. Jack Kemp I always thought was a smart guy and a decent man. Jack Kemp, he's one of the good ones. Good thing he's not around because I don't think that the current state of the Republican Party would fancy a man of morals and principles like Jack Kemp. Jack Kemp was a good dude. Who else do we have here? Dead on this day in 2010, Lynn Redgrave, English-American actress and singer. I don't know, there were two of them, right? There was like a Lynn Redgrave and there was a Vanessa Redgrave. I don't know which, was one better than the other? I don't know. Dead on this day in 2011, we already mentioned it. Osama bin Laden. That's right, he went down today. All right, folks, hold on. Give me a break here. I need to fill up my glass of water. Give me about 5 seconds, and then we'll get into all of the trends and all that stuff that's happening today. All right. No, my headphones are all tangled. Look at this nonsense. That is not fun. All right. Starting to warm up here. Don't have air conditioning. The air conditioning is still out. That's a problem. Yeah. Nope. Wrong one. All right. Here we go. We're back. Thank you. Sorry. Appreciate you being patient during the delay and whatnot. All right, big story is the debt limit. This happens now in this country every couple of months. We have to face this looming debt crisis because the debt limit isn't going to be raised now, even though it's raised every time, no matter what. We're not raising the debt limit. They're going to raise the debt limit. It's going to be over. This is the pearl clutching time. This is where this is good. This is good. This is boring stuff, though. This is not the divisive stuff that the politicians want to be dealing with, which is why they'll fix it. They'll just fix it because people don't pay attention to the debt ceiling. They don't understand it. They don't get it. You know, a guy who works at an auto parts store somewhere in Nebraska, he goes home. You know, he's pissed about the price of gas and the price of milk, right? He didn't get debt ceiling. That's not going to gin him up. Not going to gin him up the way trannies on Bud Light cans can gin him up. Not going to gin him up, the way, somebody talking about the defund the police. Not going to gin him up like that. Something stupid that isn't going to happen. No. The real things that we should get ginned up about because they are so important are the ones that they quietly get settled behind closed doors. And we don't care about the details. We don't care how the sausage is made in the debt ceiling negotiation. So here's what you need to remember. We have been here half a dozen times now in at least the last 4 years. And It always gets settled. It always gets settled quietly. And there is always a week to 2 weeks of ramp up and ginning up by the media that everything's going to go to hell. We're going to have pitchforks and tiki torches in the streets by the end. No, we're not. We're not. Stop it. Even if we were to default, look, worst case scenario, worst case scenario, the rich get really rich and the people, we suffer. And that's what's going to happen. But that's also best case scenario for them. The best case scenario. It's not like there's any other scenario where, you don't think like the money people are going to lose money on. No, they are 6 months ahead of the curve, man. They are already planned for every possible outcome and how they can maximize profits in the event it goes one way or the other. Not us. We're just staring at the price of milk going, $4 for a gallon of milk? Really? So don't you worry about the debt limit. They're going to get that all. You just stay focused on your tranny beer cans and all that. They don't even want you paying attention to this stuff. It's not fun. It's boring. And it's super important. It's super important. So that's why they'll get it done quietly and why we don't care about it. 7 dead in Oklahoma. Did you see this? This is a crazy story, man. I don't like this story at all. This is about 50 miles south of Tulsa. This went down. They found this on, when was it, yesterday? So a couple little girls, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old girl, they go out on Sunday afternoon. They go out, they tell their mamas, they're like, we're going to the big city, or whatever the big town is. By big town, I mean there's like 1,500 people because they live in rural Oklahoma. So they go into town. And again, this is, I don't even know what the name of this town is here. It's Henrietta, Oklahoma, right? So we're not talking about Tulsa. We're not even talking about Durant. We're talking about a little tiny town. But for the people in this rural area, that's like where they go. So these two kids, 14 and 16, two beautiful little girls, they go into town on Sunday and they don't come back. Kidnapped, abducted, we don't know enough. Went of their own free will, who knows? But some creeper-ass dude picked up these two little girls, 14 and 16 years old, took them back to his farm and murdered and raped them. So, while we were all watching the latest episode of Succession, there were two little girls going through the absolute worst thing imaginable. I don't know how police, I'm going to read you the story because it gets even worse. So here we go. Authorities found the bodies of 7 people Monday, not just the 2 missing little girls. They found 5 more. Authorities found the bodies of 7 people Monday on a rural property in Oklahoma during a search for 2 missing teens. The property is just east of Henrietta, roughly 50 miles south of Tulsa. A spokesperson for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation said, "We got some weed property out there. That's right in the area where the weed farm is." One of the bodies appeared to be that of Jesse McFadden, 39. Rice said the medical examiner's office would confirm the identity of McFadden and the others. They believe that McFadden's the dude who killed these girls. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol had circulated a missing persons advisory listing McFadden and 2 teenage girls early Monday. The advisory says Ivy Webster, 14, and Brittany Brewer, 16, were last seen at 1:22 a.m. Monday at an address in Henrietta. They may have been traveling with McFadden in his white Chevy Avalanche. The advisory was canceled Monday afternoon upon the discovery of the bodies. A bench warrant had been issued Monday for McFadden in nearby Muskogee County when he failed to appear in court on charges of child pornography. So he did all this on the eve of his scheduled court appearance for child pornography. How is this guy out on bail? How is this accused predator out on bail? Should people who are accused of such things be eligible for bail? Why are they eligible for bail? Why are potential child predators in our communities allowed? Okay, I got to think this through. This is a complicated one because innocent till proven guilty. Anybody can bring charges. See, it's complicated, isn't it? I don't know. Court records show a jury trial in the case was scheduled to begin on Monday. McFadden served 17 years in prison previously. He had only been released from prison in 2020. McFadden served nearly 17 years in prison after he was convicted of first-degree rape of a minor in 2003. So there you go. So he raped a kid in 2003, did 17 years, got out, started looking at child porn, as one wants to do. and got all jazzed up on that and decided to kill 2 beautiful little kids. Rice said he believed authorities found all the bodies who had been reported missing. He declined to say how many of the victims were juveniles, how they died, or how they had been at the property. Well, we do have more information on this. The 7 bodies are this. They are the 2 missing girls, 14 and 16. They are McFadden himself. So there you go. That's 3. Then there is McFadden's wife, who is dead. That makes 4. McFadden's daughter-in-law, or stepdaughter, who is dead. That makes 5. And then there were the bodies of 2 other children, 2 other boys, believed to be McFadden's own children, who were also found there. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Failure of the justice system. Failure of... How is a guy that does 17 years for raping a minor, gets out less than 3 years ago, and then his trial is already set in the child pornography. And, those trials take 6 months, 9 months. So right when he got out of jail, he started doing the whole child pornography thing because they didn't catch him first. You know what I mean? It's like he'd been doing it for a while. You never get caught the first time. And besides, it can't be a situation where he looked at child pornography at 10 o'clock on Tuesday and at 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, the FBI was at his house. No, that is a whole investigation that would take months and months. How is this guy? So how is he out on bail after previously serving 17 years for a rape of a minor? And now he's on trial for child pornography and he's out on bail. See, now that's a problem. Just based on dude's resume, right? When you're the judge and you're like, oh, child pornography? Oh, I see you also raped a child and were in prison for 17 years. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on you. You're remanded to custody. How did that not happen in this case? And now 2 little girls are dead. Yeah. Got to look at these 2 little girls just so we can know that these are real people. So that this sinks in. These 2 little girls, unbelievable. Here. Okay, never mind. I can't do these on here because, never mind. Okay, I'm sorry. Or maybe we could do it better like this. The stupid ad blocker doesn't let me use sites. Let's see what comes up here. Yeah, I want to show the picture of these 2 victims here. Here, these are the 2 little girls, 14 and 16 years old. Boom. There they are. Look at them. They're adorable. Just little kids. Little kids. This madman who was out. I don't know why he's out. No idea why he's out. All right, moving on. That's why Oklahoma and 7 bodies is being talked about. Illinois dust storm. We touched on this at the end of the show yesterday. It was breaking as we were signing off. I never saw this before. I grew up in Illinois. Now, this is, granted, this is a little bit far south. This is like hillbilly Illinois. But damn, man, did you see the video of this? There's not good video because it's just a dusty screen. You can't really see anything. But people died in a chain reaction car wreck on 55 just south of Springfield, the capital of the state of Illinois. It's very rural, very flat, very farm. This is all farm. This is all for hundreds and hundreds of miles. It is nothing but farming down here. So what they're saying happened was this was a phenomena that never occurred before, but also because, I don't know, they're saying the dirt thawed quicker. I don't know, man. Like the dirt thawed quicker than normal, and then we had unseasonable winds that kicked up the dirt, creating this terrible, terrible dust storm. 6 people died. A whole bunch is here. Let me see if we can find this. For some reason, I'm being redirected. There we go. 6 dead, dozens injured after dust storm causes horrific pileup on 55. At least six people are dead and dozens more have been injured after a blinding dust storm caused a multi-vehicle pileup south of Springfield, Illinois, that Governor J.B. Pritzker described as horrific. Traffic on Interstate 55 was shut down in both directions for nearly 30 miles. This is a horrifying situation. I have been in these kinds of situations with snow, where it's a blizzard, where I think it's even more dangerous because it's a complete whiteout. And, oh yeah, now the roads are frozen, so you're sliding. So when you do stop, you ain't stopping. You're just going to slide. So I've been in that, and I can tell you that is terrifying. Driving on an expressway through a blizzard. You can't pull over. Here's the dilemma, and this is probably the dilemma that these people faced once they drove into this dust storm cloud and crashed and 6 people died. First, you have to slow down, but you cannot see in front. You can't see out your windshield. Your windshield is completely covered, so you don't know what's in front of you. And you can't stop. You can't stop because the people behind you can't see you, and they will slam into you. You can't pull over on the side of the road because somebody else pulling over or trying to avoid something is probably going to try and use the shoulder at some point. This is a crazy, and you'll get slammed into. It is just, you have to go like 2 miles an hour. It's just the most frightening experience ever. People are like, I don't get how they just one slams into the other, because you don't see it. You don't see it. Now, it all started with somebody going too fast for conditions. Now, they don't say that here in the story, but that's how it started. Somebody was going way too fast, probably plowed into somebody in front of them. That caused that, and then people hit that, and then all of a sudden, God, how horrifying. Speaking of horrifying, here's another one. Boy, we got a lot of like these bummer stories today, guys. I apologize for this, but it is the way of the world. It is. I can only report what it is that's happening here. Did you hear about this bride that died like hours after her wedding? Is this North Carolina? Where did this happen? South Carolina, excuse me. Folly Beach, South Carolina. Oh my God. Unbelievable. This is just an unbelievable situation. Folly Beach, South Carolina, a bride leaving her wedding reception was killed when a woman driving under the influence and well over twice the speed limit slammed into the back of a golf cart on a South Carolina beach road, authorities said. So you know that moment, like, dun, 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 dun. You walk down the steps. We've seen it in movies. They're throwing rice and pictures, and you're hugging mom, and you and the new husband, you're getting off into the golf cart and whatever, the limousine, whatever it is. But they seem to be staying at a resort, and these are beach roads. So, and then you get in the golf cart, and you're like, bye, everybody. And the golf cart rolls on down the golf path. Isn't that wonderful? They got our whole lives together. And then, like, drunk-ass grandma, this looks like a road. And she pulls onto the golf path in her car. She's all wasted. I don't know if she was a wedding guest. That'd be weird. That'd be awkward. That'd be really awkward. I don't know. Maybe she was attending another event there, but that would be very weird. And she slams into her. Data retrieved from Jamie Lee Komorowski's rental car. That's the drunkard. Jamie Lee Komorowski. She had a rental car, and they've got data. Data received from her rental car indicate that she was driving 65 miles an hour when she slammed into the golf cart on the beach path. Speed limit, by the way, is 20. If you were wondering, she was going 65. The lead up to the story said twice the speed limit. That's 3 times plus the speed limit. Samantha Miller, she's the beautiful bride. She was beautiful. Samantha Miller, 34, of Charlotte, North Carolina, died in the wreck, according to the Charleston, South Carolina coroner's office. Miller had just gotten married. Folly Beach, hours earlier. Folly Beach Public Safety Director Andrew Gilbreth said, 3 others in the golf court, including the groom. Yeah, you had to worry about him because you knew that he was going to be with her. She ain't just rolling off into the sunset on her own. The groom was with her. He's jacked up really bad too. He's alive, but you know what I mean? 3 others in the golf cart, including the groom, were injured. Gilead said the golf cart had lights and was legal to be driving on the path and at night. The car was not. The groom's mother has created an online fund to pay for her daughter-in-law's funeral and her son's medical bills. It included a photo of the newlyweds running under sparklers just before the crash. It also had a photo of the groom, Eric Hutchinson. He's in the hospital where he's recovering from a brain injury and numerous broken bones after the golf cart rolled over several times and was thrown 100 yards. A golf cart hit from behind at 65 miles an hour by a drunk bitch. Komorowski, 25. She's 25. I thought she was just some old lady. A 25-year-old drunk bitch. This is 25. Can she even legally get a rental car? Don't you have to be 26? Or is it 25? Not sure. Komorowski, 25, is charged with reckless vehicular homicide and 3 counts of driving under the influence causing death. She faces 1 to 25 years in prison. Komorowski remains in the Charleston County Jail Monday. Oh, good, we're keeping her locked up, but not the dude in Oklahoma who killed 7 people, including himself. She's going to be locked up. She remains in custody. She did not indicate if she has a lawyer. Oh, my God. Jeez Louise. What a terrible situation. Imagine that. Happiest day of your life. They got the wedding. Oh, my God, that's so happy. Then they have the reception. And you know the bride loves her some bride at the reception. It's all about the bride. What a wonderful, wonderful thing she must have been experiencing. And then it's all over. That is life, people. That is why all this bullshit that we get bogged up in, it's so stupid. Life. Over like that. Over like that. And it doesn't matter if you're physically fit. There's a beautiful 34-year-old woman. She fell victim to the chaos of the universe. That's how she died. And that's how people die all the time, falling victim to the chaos of the universe. So if you just kind of live your life, know that that's what can happen. You might feel compelled to be a little bit cooler with people, knowing that, this could be the last time we see one another. I could have a brain aneurysm. I could have a massive heart attack. I could have a piece of space junk fall out of the sky and land on my head while I'm going out to my car in the morning. All of these things can happen. Life is precious. Take nothing for granted. This poor girl. Oh, my goodness. All right, enough of that. Enough of my philosophical rantings about the way we should all live. Just be more supportive of one another. Let's see here. Oh, Gordon Lightfoot. Huh? How about this guy? Gordon Lightfoot has died. Is he Canadian? I'm not sure if he's Canadian. Is he Canadian? I think he's Canadian. He's Gordon. Gordon is like the national name of Canada. There are no Gords. There are no Gords south of North Dakota. I'm going to go on record. I'm going to say that. There is nobody. Now, maybe you moved, but you're not from there. No, I'll put it this way. Nobody has been named Gord south of North Dakota. That's a Canadian name. Gordon. Gordon Lightfoot, the Canadian singer-songwriter whose enduring folk hits, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and Sundown, he died on Monday. He was 84 years old. Lightfoot died of natural causes at 7:30 at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto, eh? Oh, yeah, he's Canadian, His death comes less than a month after he canceled the 2023 U.S. and Canada concert schedule. Dude was going out on tour at 84 years old. That is bad. That is bad. No. Al, yes, Gordon Sumner. I know Sting's real name, but that's British Gordon, which is also influenced by Canadian Gordon. That's why there's Gordons, because Britain, it started out. It's a very common name in Britain. But I said America. That's why I said south of North Dakota. Feel like I shouldn't have to explain that to you, but hey, that's all right. That's all right. We're good. Gordon Lightfoot's death comes less than a month after he canceled his tour. His 1976 ballad about the sinking of the Great Lakes cargo ship, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, reached number 2 on the Billboard charts nationally. Other hits included Carefree Highway, Sundown, I think it did. All right, Gordon Lightfoot. There you go. That was interesting because I think, we talked about The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. which is a see, now that's like a song, that's like a bar song, it's like a drunken tavern bar song, like in the Great Lakes. And I'd never heard it in Texas. I didn't know that was a song that was a national song, because it just seems so tethered to the Great Lakes region, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. But no, Billboard says it went to number 2 nationally. So I guess it was a hit song. Depressing song. Great song though. That's a great song. If you like words and you like stories and you like history, all true. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down on the big lake they call Gitche Gumee. That's right. The big lake, they said, never gives up its dead. When the winds of November came. Zooming? Calling? I don't know what it is. Whatever. Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Gordon Lightfoot, good for you, my man. We hardly knew ye. Actually, we knew you pretty well. You were 84 years old. Writer's strike. We got a Hollywood writer's strike, everybody. Oh, that's right. Sorry, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, because the only people that are going to be affected right now by the writer's strike are the people who do live nightly comedy. But, if you're worried about, does this mean that the new season of, I don't know, Numbers? Is Numbers even a show still? I don't know. Does this mean that the new season of Law and Order Cincinnati Special Victims Unit is... Yes. No, actually, it doesn't mean that. It does not mean. There will be no disruption. This is always the fear. This is always the saber rattle that, well, fine, we're doing this now so that we don't have to delay the new fall season, so that all of the new shows that you roll out won't be delayed. That's what they say. But the truth of the matter is that a writer, a writer on strike is not gonna not write. A writer on strike is probably gonna be more prolific than he's been in a very long time. He's gonna start pumping out shit. And then when the strike is over, the pitch meetings are gonna happen. There's gonna be so much new material. It's the direct opposite. So if they settle the strike, in a reasonable amount of time so that production can keep up with what's been written, there's gonna be no delay in the new season. There's gonna be no delay there's not. Jimmy Fallon's going to have a problem. Stephen Colbert's going to have a problem. Jimmy Kimmel's going to have a problem. They got no writers. And it'll be interesting to see, because the writer's strike goes into effect today. It'll be interesting to see if they're live. I don't know if they were live last night in anticipation, whatever. I don't know. But it'll be. And if they do go live, just know that they don't have any writers. They're using either scabs or just Jimmy himself. Either Fallon or Kimmel. They're writing the whole show themselves. TJ Maxx is trending. TJ Maxx. Why is TJ Maxx trending? We want to watch this. Okay, so there's a video that is trending of a situation that went down in a TJ Maxx. I don't know where this is. It looks like it's California. But this is the thing that happens now. This is the world we live in. So let's give a look at this. I'll tell you exactly what we're looking at. This is they're doing that thing. They're doing that thing where people walk into stores now and they just take stuff and walk out, because you see the corporations, they got so much money with their yachts and their planes, because the corporations have determined that, although sure they'll have a security guard, but actually if that security guy were to do his job, that would open up all kinds of civil vulnerabilities and all that. So these big companies, they're like, no, just take it. Yeah, you're just there as a deterrent. You're just there in case somebody says, I want to steal something, but oh, look, there's a security guard there. I can't steal it. What a lot of these criminals have learned is that they're playing the insurance game. That they know that the big stores don't give a shit if you steal stuff. That's worked into their yearly budget. They have a crime and a loss column that accounts for so much stolen merchandise when they make their yacht payments. They're like, do I still have enough to make my yacht payment? Yeah. Okay, so they're going to steal about 20%. Can we make that work? Well, we're going to have to lay off a whole bunch of people. No, what about my bonuses? It's going to affect my bonus? It's not going to affect your bonus at all. Okay, well then let's keep doing it. So that's why we see what we're about to see. People can just walk into stores and steal whatever they want. Because if it's a big store, and you got to know what store. It's got to be a big giant store. If it's a big giant store, their security will not stop you. Because if their security lays a hand on you, all of a sudden, Target or wherever is now looking at a lawsuit, and they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with it. So, again, when you see a security guard in a Target, just know you can walk right past them with something, walk right out the door. If you just keep walking, they won't. Now, if there's a local cop sitting out in front, you see that a lot. Sometimes there's a cop. That cop will stop you, and then you're in trouble. But store security, nah, don't worry about it. So this is what's happening. Let's watch this. This happened at a TJ Maxx store, which is weird because TJ Maxx is a crazy discount store anyway. This happened at a TJ Maxx store in California. Let's watch this. This is a man, this is a civilian getting involved and doing what TJ Maxx does not want their security to do. There are all kinds of bad decisions on this guy. This is pure ego. This is outrage. This is a guy who watches Tucker Carlson, has been ginned up, and he's not going to let this happen, God damn it, on his watch. And I can understand those feelings, but I'm also a bit more emotionally mature, and I can handle my rages and not create an even bigger problem, which this guy did. But like I said, man, I understand it. Oh, how come you got? I'm waiting in line to pay for this $15 pair of jeans. Why do you get to just walk? I mean, that's a very real reaction to it. But you can't be this dumb guy. This is a dumb guy. This is dumb. He's like, oh, God damn it, I'm not taking it. Okay, calm yourself, Grandpa. Because you are not going to be the hero. You're not. Although maybe, I don't know, he's circulating and people like him. But here you go, let's watch it. So you understand the motivation. He's just pissed that people are walking out of a store that he doesn't own. Maybe he's a stockholder, I don't know. No. No. If you're a stockholder, if you own stock, you ain't shopping at TJ Maxx. I don't care what kind of stock you own. If you are somebody who possesses stocks, you ain't going to TJ Maxx. So there are no TJ Maxx stockholders who actually go to TJ Maxx. Anyway, let's watch this. See how this plays out. Because again, it's complicated. I'm a bit conflicted, but there's a part of me that wants to buy this man a beer. We're going to be just ragdolling her.
A good Samaritan trying to stop two alleged thieves at a TJ Maxx in Miraloma.
The fuck you mean alleged thieves? We got to protect everybody. We here at ABC7 would like to apologize for... They're walking out of the store with merchandise they didn't pay for. That is the very definition of being a thief. The alleged thieves... That's why people don't trust the media, because they are so disingenuous about everything. Everything.
And a good Samaritan trying to stop two alleged thieves at a TJ Maxx in Miraloma. Dramatic video captured by a customer showing the takedown at the location.
That's my favorite. Watch that.
Showing the takedown.
He just ragdolls her into
captured by a customer showing the takedown.
Ironically, the security.
Dramatic video captured by a customer showing the takedown. Dramatic video captured by a customer showing the takedown. Dramatic video captured by a customer showing the takedown at the location on Limonite Avenue. At least two women wearing black hoodies seen trying to walk out with arms full of purses. But when the second one tried to leave, a man jumped in to stop her, tackling her, eventually knocking her to the ground.
Let me go. Let her go. Let her go. Let me go. Let me go.
After a brief struggle, the alleged thief was able to get away. It's unclear what merchandise actually was taken. So far, no arrests have been made.
They got away. TJ Maxx is not going to pursue this. They don't give a shit. They've got it worked into their bottom line that X amount of stuff is going to get stolen. You do realize that is why the major grocery stores now have robot checkouts. You know, we all hate the self-checkouts. I don't. I actually love the self-checkout. But people hate the self-checkout. I don't know how to do it. That's why they don't. That's why they hate it. They learn to do it. Look, dick trip around for 3 times, and on the 4th time through, you're going to totally know how to do the self-checkout. It ain't that hard. It's just different, and you're lazy. That's why you don't like, I don't understand it. It's really easy. I'm an idiot, and I was able to figure it out, and I super prefer it. But that's why grocery stores have self-checkout. Because, see, they understand that people are going to steal stuff. They understand that they've got that worked in to their yearly budget, the amount of stuff that is going to get stolen. So they got that worked in. So they got the budget. We're going to lose 25% product or whatever. Okay? It's a grocery store, so they have perishables and stuff like that. So there's a lot of loss. There's a lot of loss factored in to how much at the end of the year we end up bonusing the people who are on the board of directors. It's a lot of loss already That's why when those losses are less, like when the actual losses are less than everybody gets even bigger bonuses. But that's why they've gone with self-checkout, because they expect you to steal. They know you're going to steal. But what they figured out is, all right, so let's say we lose, let's say we lose $2 out of every 10 going full self-checkout. And then they look at the checkout lanes where they have to hire a human being and pay them a livable wage. And if they're full-time, they have to give them all that. So remember, they're looking at the self-checkout and they're like, we're going to lose $2 out of every 10 if we do self-checkout. Oh, but look, our workforce prices are $4 out of every 10. So what if we just accept that we're going to lose the $2 in theft and fire our entire workforce? And that is why every store, especially the big ones, the big now your little town market, Bob's little store, you're not going to have it. But the big ones are all going self-checkout because they don't care if you steal. They already know you're going to steal. They've got that worked in. Most people aren't gonna steal. Maybe there's an accident. Like I accidentally stole some diapers once, which was a good steal because they were really expensive. And you don't accidentally steal diapers. Like I knew that somehow this price didn't look right at the end, but I'm rolling it out. I left the diapers on the underneath of the cart and I never scanned them and I forgot they were under the cart. So that's going to happen, and they expect that that's going to happen. But you know what they don't want to happen? They don't want to have to pay old, Rita or Denise, while she goes off and has that fifth baby. They don't want to have to do that. They lose more in that kind of bullshit dealing with the everyday in and out issues that it comes when you engage with other humans. They lose money annually that far outpaces what they're going to lose when people steal from self. So it's just like get rid of people. That's why we're all being replaced by robots, because it's just more price effective. It's more cost effective. What are we going to do? I don't know. Retrain? We're going to drive trucks. Oh, autonomous trucks are coming. Coal mines, they're going to open the coal mines. You think that if we moved in the direction of coal mines, you think that big coal is going to find it economically advantageous to them to hire humans to go dig coal? Or do you think that they're now going to have like these crazy robots down there digging coal 5 times quicker than a human? Come on. Yeah, go ahead. Bring back the coal, but don't think they're bringing back the jobs, because there ain't going to be any jobs. Those are jobs from the 1800s. We don't use people that way anymore. Not because we don't use people, because it's bad to use people. I mean, humans are not as good at doing that job as the ways of a robot or some kind of like bulldozer or something. But yeah, we're all being replaced. Why? Because employing human beings is more expensive to the corporate bottom line than worrying about those very same human beings stealing. Because again, only some people will steal. The rest of us are good, and they're like, they can count on us to not steal. And they know the people who are going to steal. Those people are going to steal anyway. This just makes it a little bit easier. That's it. That's the metric. That is the cold follow the money metric of all of this stuff. It's why TJ Maxx doesn't fight you if you want to walk out with all kinds of purses, and it's why your new grocery store is nothing but self-checkout, which, by the way, I like the self-checkout. I do think that there's a greater societal damage to the whole self-checkout thing. I do worry about, those kinds of jobs, that level of job. The mom who was taking an extra job you used to take a job, your mom, your friend's mom would take a job at the grocery store because they had insurance. And it was a way, to get insurance. It's, I understand those jobs will not exist for the average American anymore. They already don't to the degree that they did 20 years ago. But again, that's the other thing. That's how we get used to it. These changes don't happen overnight. These changes happen slowly, incrementally over the course of 20 years, so that it's a drip, drip, drip way of us getting used to it and accustomed to the change. There is never a great change. There is always just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And now we're here. And now we're where we are. Dead media is trending. A couple of stories concerning dead media. And these are two of the promised majors in the world of new media, back when new media was popping up and everybody was excited. We told you yesterday about an interesting situation that was happening over at Vice. Vice, of course, Vice wasn't Vice like evaluated at like $2 billion at some point, and somebody tried to buy Vice for like $2 billion like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And they arrogantly said, no, we're going to keep it. And now it's like worth nothing. So Vice, yesterday, the big story was that they closed up their Vice World News, not whatever it is. They had so many plates spinning. I have no idea. They closed off, they fired everybody. They shut down one of their big, most high profile productions. With Vice News. Well, today it's even worse. Now the other shoe has dropped. Vice is apparently preparing to file bankruptcy. Okay? In the story here that accompanies it, it announces that Vice never turned a profit. Never! They just burned through capital and just make it to you know that make it till you fake it, man, or fake it till you make it. Well, what happens if you never make it? And you know what? They faked it right into a $2 billion evaluation, and they said no. They said no, and now they're filing for bankruptcy. How about BuzzFeed? This is the other story that's circulating under the category of dead media. BuzzFeed was really big. Oh my God. Oh my God! If you were a stupid 19-year-old girl in 2005, you lived for BuzzFeed. Everything was everything you quoted. I saw on BuzzFeed a story. I mean, it was big. I never really got into BuzzFeed. Never looked at it. I mean, I saw it was interesting. It was an interesting in that there were so many topics. Like there was a whole bunch of stuff, but you couldn't really get any good information on anyone. So the way I would use BuzzFeed is I might see something interesting there, and then I'd have to go to Google and Google that story and find it somewhere else where it was done a bit more professionally. BuzzFeed, their stock price has dipped below $1, and they're in danger of being delisted. So BuzzFeed and Vice News, two of the they were believed to be the future of the way people would consume news, and they went down. They're whoop whoop. People don't. Here's the problem with Vice News. I can speak more to Vice than I can to BuzzFeed because I liked Vice. I talked yesterday about how I used to watch Vice News Tonight, and they would have a different correspondent in a different global city doing some very deep coverage of some serious international event that wasn't being covered anywhere else. And I would think to myself, they had to fly at least 4 people to this location. That's expensive air travel. Then they got to get a bunch of hotel rooms. And so I always looked at Vice and I thought, boy, this is expensive. They better be turning a profit because it's expensive to send people all around the world every single night. And it's what they did. And it was real news, and it was interesting news, and it was probably important news. But, people don't watch that. People don't want that kind of stuff. They don't. The people who want to be informed will be informed. And the people who want their own biases and previously established narratives reinforced, they'll find that as well. Because that's all out there. And then the people who have the real news will just have to sit there and look at the people talk about lizards and JFK Jr. and all that. We'll just have to sit there and go, ugh. Yeah. Here's a sad story. More sad stories, you guys. There's just so many sad stories today. I don't like this one at all. Shaq Barrett, linebacker for the the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shaq Barrett is going through something today. His little daughter fell in their pool. And she died. You hear, God, these stories always kill me, man. I always worry about that. I had a friend who years ago, they bought a new house and they didn't put a pool in. And the wife wanted a pool and they didn't put a pool in because they were going to have babies. He just didn't want a pool. They've been married 20 years. They don't have any kids and they still don't have a pool. And it's like, we still waiting to have those babies? But this is not funny. Sorry, I was just trying Trying to lighten the mood here. Shaquille Barrett's daughter, age 2, drowns in a pool at their Florida home. She fell in. This happened on... police officers responded to the call. Sunday afternoon. All right, so there you go. Shaq Barrett, football player, going through some stuff. Police do not suspect foul play. There is no investigation. Blah, blah, blah. Just an absolutely tragic event that happens all the time, man. All the time. You hear about this, all the kids falling and... I mean, you know what? Never mind. I was just gonna go down a little path where I was gonna talk about these, but why? I don't want to talk about dead kids. That's moving on. How about Pornhub? Pornhub versus the state of Utah. Pornhub versus the state of Utah. If you are in Utah, anybody in Utah? Any of my Utes? No, nobody in Utah. If you're in the state of Utah and you try and sign on to the world's largest porn provider, you're going to get a little thing that says, nope, not for you people in Utah. Pornhub has blocked Utah in protest of a new age verification law. Now, I have a real problem with the age verification process on pornography sites. They're a joke. Are you 18? Click yes or no to exit because you're not 18 and you're not allowed to be here. One horny 14-year-old is going to not click yes. There are no repercussions. That's it. That's the verification process. Are you grown up enough to see this? That's it. That's the entire verification process. So Utah has a problem with that. So Utah has a new way of making sure, at least in their state, that youngins don't get to have access to Pornhub. And Pornhub is like, yeah, no, that ain't going to fly. You just ain't nobody in Utah going to have access to Pornhub. You can't be doing this. What are they doing in Utah? Well, if you want to access Pornhub and you're in the state of Utah, you have to get your driver's license out and you have to sign in with your driver's license number, your real name. Are you kidding me? Ain't nobody gonna do that. So Pornhub's like, you can't do that to our customers. We're not gonna let you do that to any of our customers. And if that's the only way that people in your state get to see our content, well, you know what? It's unfortunate, but the people in your state aren't gonna. Now this is funny because who's gonna complain, right? Maybe this is what the Utah government is. Who's gonna complain? Are you gonna have a bunch of like trench coat creepers, protesting in front of the state house? How's that gonna work? Ain't nobody in Utah going to complain about this, even if they are really angry. Dateline Salt Lake City. Pornhub, one of the largest adult content websites on the internet, has blocked Utahns, apparently that's what they're called, Utahns, have blocked Utahns from viewing the site in an apparent protest of a new law forcing stricter age verification measures. See, now, again, I agree. We need to have stricter age verification measures. Maybe this is a lane for a whole new service. The way there was no such thing as PayPal or Cash App or anything. Maybe this is a lane for a whole new service. Maybe there is maybe you sign into Google, very generally speaking. And Google now has you got your Google wallet, that kind of thing. So what if like Google could verify your age? And you have that saved. And then when you went to a site like this in Utah without giving your driver's license number, maybe you could just, click Google verified or something. I don't know. Notice I gave it to Google when really it's going to be some kids in their garage who are going to come up with it. And then Google's going to buy it for $1 billion. That's how they get rich. That's how it works. But maybe something like that. But just the complete invasiveness of, you're going to get into some weird sex stuff, are you? All right, that's fine. Well, you can get into some really weird shit, aren't you? I see you, you freak. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to need your driver's license number. You got your DL number. I'm going to need your address. I'm going to need your name. See, nobody's going to do that. That's too judgy. First of all, Utah, way too judgy to begin with, right? Utah's way too judgy. So the people are... Anyway, we'll see how that works. Utah. It's going to make you fill out a questionnaire with your driver's license and all that kind of stuff. That was one of the proposals, though. It wasn't just like your driver's license and all that. Like, there was like some questions they wanted to ask you, like faith-based stuff. Like, do you really think Jesus would be cool with you Googling MILF daughter porn? You know what I mean? Like, is that what Jesus would do? That was the proposal. But this is what they got now is just like, you got to enter in your driver's license. Oh, but yeah, people went crazy with crazy proposals. All right, we like to do these lists. We got a list here. We got a best state list. They're telling us who the best state in the United States is. They only given us 10, and I'm telling you, the list is complete bullshit because it starts out with number 10, Florida. That's right, they say Florida is the 10th best state. Don't know what any of this is based on. I mean, I guess... No, it's not. I hate Florida. I've been to Florida a number of times. It is humid. They have bugs the way we have birds. Like, their bugs are the size of birds. There's like a 50-50 chance that there's an alligator in that bush that you just walked by. There's nothing about Florida that I like. There's nothing. Miami. All right, South Beach. There you go. South Beach I like. Woo. You give me a hotel room on South Beach and you tell us we're going out for the weekend. We're going to have a wonderful time. There you go. That's the Florida that I like. But the rest of it, man, the rest of it is just awful. It's just sweaty hillbillies and alligators. Ugh. No, thank you. The number 9 best state in the United States is Vermont. All right, here's why I like to do these bits, because it allows me to give hot takes on states that I have absolutely no right to give hot takes on. I've never been to Vermont. I don't know dick about Vermont. But you know what? I like Vermont. I think Vermont seems like I could go to Vermont. Seems like Wisconsin with less funny accents. That's what Vermont seems like to me. Hey, and look at this, number 8, Wisconsin. Yeah, I can back this. Wisconsin's a top 5er for me. It's a top 5 state. I love Wisconsin. Oh my God. Cheese, beer, football, and just endless forests. Endless forests and rivers and valleys and foothills and lakes. Oh my God. Wisconsin is Chicago's backyard. And when Chicagoans want to go out and play in the backyard, it's Wisconsin. You just go right up there and it's awesome. I love Wisconsin. Iowa is number 7. I like Iowa too. Although my familiarity with Iowa, like I don't know like bad Iowa. Like there's bad Iowa. Bad Iowa is like an hour car ride east of the Quad Cities. Like if you get like in the middle of Iowa, it's not bad. It's just corn. You know, there's not like a whole lot there. But the Quad Cities are fun. Des Moines, I've been to Des Moines. Des Moines is fun. Iowa's cool. I will give Iowa the thumbs up. New Hampshire comes in at number 6 as the best state. New Hampshire. Vermont, Wisconsin, New Hampshire. I got no problem with that. That seems fine. Oh, Minnesota. Minnesota comes in at number 5. Love Minnesota. Not as much as I love Wisconsin, but I love Minnesota. Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. I like the same states. They're like the exact same states. It's just, you know, you rank them according to the best summer experiences you've had, right? So I go Wisconsin first because I've had better summer experiences in Wisconsin. I go Michigan second because I've had the second best summer experiences in Michigan. And I go Minnesota third. But that's not because I just haven't been to Minnesota as much as I have Wisconsin and Michigan. But it's still a great state. Love it. Nebraska comes in at number 4. Nebraska, what the? My God. I was on a plane flight between Chicago and LA once, and we landed in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was an unscheduled stop, and they never told us why we stopped there. So we sat on a runway in Lincoln, Nebraska for an hour, and I looked out the window, and I went, this place looks awful. So Nebraska, now, can't give it to you. Nebraska seems like just terrible. Idaho, what about Idaho? Beautiful. Idaho looks beautiful. I don't have a hot take on it. Washington. Oh, I love the Pacific Northwest. You kidding me? I love that. And the number 1 state. So remember, 9 was Florida. Or 10 was Florida, 9 was Vermont, 8 was Wisconsin, 7 is Iowa, New Hampshire is 6th. Minnesota is 5th. Nebraska is 4. Idaho is 3. Washington is 2. And the number 1 state in America. Hope you're not going there to look at Pornhub, because Utah won't let you do it. That's right. Utah comes in at number 1. What's going on with that Salt Lake? Why is there salt in that lake? It's a big-ass lake. Why can't it be normal? Why is that lake totally useless? Seriously, I'm serious. I don't know why. Does that have something to do with, like, glaciers and stuff melting? And I don't know. Anyway, there you have it. Those are the 10 best states in the United States. A little fun fact for us here. My home state of Illinois came in on this list at number 36. Oh, that's unfortunate. And the state I reside from right now, Texas, came in at 35. That's right. 36 and 35 for my 2 states. We are not crushing it. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Best state. Oh, okay. So now, with the time remaining, I want to do a little thing where we watch some videos. Because I found a whole bunch. Some of these are trending. One of them is trending. The first one that we started out with is trending, and we'll watch that. But then there's just a couple other videos that I want to watch, and we'll comment on them. And these. But this first one is trending, and or at least it was trending up until this morning. It was trending yesterday, and I didn't know why it was trending. I wasn't really paying attention to it, and then I finally watched it, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. All right, so The Love Boat. The Love Boat is trending, and it's trending because this is weird for me, man. This is a very weird situation. I've had to have seen every single episode of The Love Boat. I mean, you want to talk about my cultural wheelhouse. I watched The Love Boat every single night. It was like my favorite thing. Or every Saturday. Love Boat at 8 o'clock on ABC, followed by Fantasy Island at 9 o'clock on ABC. I remember the Love Boat 2-hour movie. And that would then begin the series. I remember all of that stuff. That was a great Saturday night. And me laying on the couch, just watching Love Boat straight into Fantasy Island. But I do not remember this episode of Love Boat. So this is trending because this is apparently this is crazy. This is bonkers crazy. This is apparently a 1979 or 80 episode of The Love Boat and I'm going to set it up for you. Gopher is excited because coming on this cruise is his old college roommate, his old buddy Ray. And Ray shows up, and Ray is now Rachel, and it's Mackenzie Phillips from One Day at a Time. So this was trending yesterday because it was showing how, even in 1979, how the trans issue was dealt with, by Hollywood. So I thought we could watch it. And I found it interesting, but here we go. This is from a 1979 issue of The Love Boat. Gopher's friend is trans.
Gopher, I am Ray. It's the truth. I'm your old college roommate, Ray Johnson.
Okay, so first of all, is it insulting to, and let's not kid ourselves, this was peak heroin strung out Mackenzie Phillips era. All right, so she's all wackadood out on the goop-de-gop. And they want her to play, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we want you to play a woman who used to be a man. It's like, oh, okay, do you need me to change anything about, no, we don't need you to change anything. No, you just be you. You just show up, and we're pretty sure that the audience will believe that you used to be a man. So that's not really flattering, but, All right, so Gopher's having difficulty processing that his old roommate Ray is now, if I'm being honest, very dateable Mackenzie Phillips. So he's kind of having problems with that, right? I mean, Mackenzie Phillips looks pretty good there. I didn't recognize her as, being hot back in the day because, I was distracted by her little sister, Valerie Bertinelli. But, she looks good here. So now here's Gopher. He's going to Captain Steubing. Remember Captain Steubing? Sage advice, a good man. You could always count. You could always get put on the right path if you have a nice little heart-to-heart with good old Captain Merrill Steubing. So that's what Gopher does. So Gopher's going to Captain Steubing, and he's going to tell him his issues with his college roommate, Ray, who now shows up as Rachel.
But under the circumstances, I think you were right in not getting involved. After all, I don't know too much about these kinds of people. However...
excuse me, sir, what do you mean by these kinds of people?
You know. Different.
Different.
What do you mean by different? She is the same person.
Oh, come on, Gopher, really?
She is.
What?
Except that she probably has more guts than both you and I combined. I mean, do you have any idea what she probably had to go through before she even reached the decision she did? The strings of doctors and the tests that you have to take and who knows what else? Not to mention the pure physical and emotional pain of the whole thing. This takes courage.
You really sound as if you admire her.
I do. And I resent your implication that I should just desert my friend.
Look at her.
Gopher, this is very difficult to explain.
Ever seen.
But I want you to understand. I never felt right as a man. Never. I was always more comfortable with women. I identified with them more. Wanted to be like them. So, I finally made a decision.
Are you happy?
Very happy. I've never regretted it, not for a minute. At present.
Are you crazy? Just give up on a friendship that has taken years to build?
Oh,
I take that as a personal insult. I liked you as a man.
Gopher. He's okay with his trans friend. And look at that teaching moment. All the way back in 1979, they were trying to show us that, Gopher. How about Captain? Here's what. Now, okay, I got to be honest about that. I think I'd seen every episode of The Love Boat. I know that I saw every episode of Love Boat. And certainly in 1979, I saw every episode of that season. Boy, that doesn't even remind. I don't even remember that. So let's talk about it, okay? So was I being groomed? Because I was 10 years old watching that. And I loved The Love Boat. If I was being groomed, it wasn't effective because I don't even remember that. You know what I think probably happened? I think that was probably just one of the subplots on that episode of The Love Boat. It was probably one that I didn't even find that interesting. So it was just like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, be cool to different people. That's fine. That's the message. Fine, moving on. Didn't even connect with me until I saw that. But here's what Captain Steubing being like, I don't know. That was a bit of a different character turn for old Captain Steubing. So that's why The Love Boat is trending. There you go, Love Boat 1979, trying to tell us, saying, hey man, just be nice to people. Although, again, Mackenzie Phillips, she looked good. That's like the best she's ever looked. Oh my God. Imagine that. The best you ever looked is when you were playing a character who used to be a man. That ain't good. All right, so here's another one that I wanted to, another video. Yeah, no, you know what? Let's do this one instead. Okay, so here's another one. I wanted to show this video. I came across this yesterday, and I shared it on my Twitter, and it's a whole lot of fun. Twitter is Pugs Moran. There on Twitter, you can find it. So remember a couple of weeks ago, it was last week where I told you that, I wasn't feeling well, and I needed a little something. So I ended up eating some edibles. By the way, completely legal, 100% real edibles, completely legal to buy here in the state of Texas. You just walk into the store and you tell them what you want and they will give it to you, and it is completely legal. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So anyway, I'll have more information about that. We should have an edible party. I think that's what we should do. So I ate an edible chocolate bar. I had gummies and all this stuff, but I ate an edible chocolate bar. And my problem with edibles had always been, I didn't like them. I don't like the full body high. I don't like that. I like to be creative. I like to be, traditional way of ingesting is the way that I always felt. And I wasn't convinced that edibles even worked on me. So the other day I'm sick and I have this full candy bar, and there's 16 squares on the candy bar, and you're only supposed to eat one or two, right? You take one or two and then you just sit back and relax and, enjoy the night. So I ate one or two, and then an hour went by, and I wasn't feeling anything, right? So then after that hour mark, I'm like, Jesus, this stuff, there is nothing in here. And so I ate the entire candy bar. I ate the entire edible candy bar after 1 hour of not feeling anything. Lesson learned. Holy shit. I was wrecked for a good 48 hours after that because, as I discovered, it takes me about 3 hours for the edibles to kick in with my system. I don't know if that's a metabolism thing or whatever. So I thought that was very strange. Come to find this video, I want to share this video with you. This is a young girl who, not a young girl, she's a young woman. She's a young woman who is documenting her taking of edibles, and it shows you how much time has passed. And this is a teaching moment, man. If you do the recommended dose of edibles and then just wait at least 2 hours. Don't think they're not working and then take a whole bunch more, because you are gonna be wrecked. I was absolutely destroyed. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was so relaxed. So here we go. So watch this girl as she takes us on a little bit of a journey on her edibles. Okay, so here we go. This is how long it takes the edibles to kick in.
Right after I ate an edible. 40 minutes after I ate an edible.
40 minutes.
An hour and a half after I ate an edible. An hour and a half after I ate an edible.
Okay, here's what I love about this one. She does the hour and a half one twice because she's obvious. You see the difference? She's like, I just ate an edible. 40 minutes after eating an edible. 1 hour after eating an edible. 1 hour and a half after eating an edible. 1 hour and a half after eating an edible. I mean, she's obviously going through something. Let's watch it again from the beginning. I'll let it roll straight through.
Right after I ate an edible. 40 minutes after I ate an edible. An hour and a half after I ate an edible. An hour and a half after I ate an edible. 2 hours after eating this edible. Has it really been 2 hours? It's only been 2 hours. 2.5 hours later.
2.5 hours.
I forgot how long it's been. But let's make a steak.
Yeah, let's make a steak. I don't know what. I have no idea how much time has passed, but I want a steak. Look at her. She's going to eat that steak. Ooh, that looks good.
Bone apple teeth.
Bone apple teeth. She's awesome. She's awesome. Bone apple teeth. Yeah, there you go. That's how it goes. So that's how the whole edible thing is. Here, and I got one more that I want to show to you that I thought was funny. No, actually, no. Oh, wow, I got a couple more. Okay, well, since we're just watching videos, why not? I forgot that I compiled a bunch of backups. New York City, Saturday night. This happened in New York City on Saturday night on the subway. Now, a lot of people depend on the New York rapid transit system in order to get to and from their work, their home, their shopping, all of that good stuff. You know, people depend on it. And it just so happens we've got a woman here on a subway train in New York City who is pulling up to her stop where she needs to get off. But the problem is that a Taylor Swift concert has just let out. So she can't get out because there's not. Watch this. This is very, very funny. I love this. All right, here we go. Remember, this woman just wants to get out. Here she goes, pulling into the stop. She wants to get out.
When the Taylor Swift concert ends at the same time you're on your way home.
I'll take the street. Oh, hell no.
Look at all those people out that window.
Hell no. We about to get off. Wait. Don't come on yet.
Okay, so skip
They're like, honey, we're coming on.
Okay, she's going to try and get off first so that she can go home after a hard day's work. No, I'm just assuming here. So she can go home after a day's work and she is about to be blown away by a wave of suburban white teenage girls who are riding the subway for the first time. I assume the first time. Some of them might be vets of the subway system. But here's the look at the faces on these these Swifties as they get on. They are miserable. They are drunk. They are beginning to sober up. Their makeup is running. They are grossed out that they have to be on a train. Here we go. Let's watch this.
Look at this girl. She's stepping up. She's like, I gotta see.
1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Careful. He's careful.
Look at this one ain't happy. She's been through hell. But she didn't want to touch nothing. She's like, ew, gross, poor people. Look at this one. This one is like, maybe you did 2 tours of combat, but I rode the subway after a Taylor Swift. This dude doesn't want to touch. This girl is so angry that her dad's girlfriend took the limo. This girl cannot believe that she has to ride in the subway.
When the Taylors.
What's up with those outfits too? Taylor Swift girls, why are they all dressing like in prom dresses that were, slutted up? All right, I thought that one was funny. What else? Do I have another? Oh, yeah, here's a guy. Here's a hero. I love this guy. Follow me on Twitter. I shared this one yesterday, but I wanted to talk about this one here at the end of the show. This is a guy who, this guy's awesome. This guy has a job, probably not, maybe not a high-paying job, but he does his job. He loves his job, and he is into it. Okay, so he operates. Here, we'll put this on. This is a dude who operates an amusement park ride. I don't know if this is a Six Flags or something, but he's got a TikTok channel. And so he films him launching all of the guests to the park. Guests to the park, they show up, they wait in line, they get in his ride, and then he launches them. And he films them being launched. Now, there's a catch to it. Because this guy fucks with everybody's heads just before they drop. It's one of these things that drop down. So, he'll okay, hold on, wait a second, we got a security problem. There's a knot in the chain. And as he's saying that, the thing will drop. You just got to watch this guy. This guy is awesome. This guy is the employee of the month. Talk about accelerating the park-going experience.
Hold on, ladies. There's a knot in the chain. Let me fix it, I think. Hold on, guys. My dummy. I'm so dumb, I forgot to put the shoulder straps on. Hold on.
You're looking around.
Come on, guys. Your shoulder straps, they're right behind you. You gotta pull them on down.
Come on, this dude's awesome.
Hold on, guys. It's showing empty. I think I know what's wrong. It ain't got no gas in it. Hold on.
Hold on. He steps away.
Something wrong with the thingamadoodle. Let me check it out real quick. Something's wrong with your seatbelt. I gotta come check it.
I mean, come on. It goes on for another 5 minutes or something. But that is awesome. That guy is awesome. Hold on, there's something wrong with your seatbelt. I gotta go fix it. And then they drop. And so the last thing they're thinking is, no, I'm gonna die. And then they don't die. And everybody laughs. And it's a whole lot of fun. I guess that's going to be it. That's pretty much all we have here for today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. As I said, there will not be a Pugs and Parker show this evening. Okay? Apologize, but we are working on we're recording stuff. We're doing other things. We'll let you know about that project very shortly. But right now, tonight is the last night too, by the way, because of people's availability. So Pugs and Parker will return on Wednesday. E will not be with us. E is going to the Kentucky Derby, but he'll be filing reports, so we'll talk to him from wherever the hell that he is. Anything else that I need to mention? As always, if you can tip the show, man, we would really appreciate that. The show runs on your kindnesses. your gratuities. Treat me like I'm your bartender. Treat me like I'm your concierge, whatever. I don't know. Do you tip a concierge? I don't know, whatever. Drop a little something there, Venmo or Cash App. We do this show every day, Monday through Friday for 2 hours. Been doing it now for almost 2 years. You people have kept us afloat, and we do appreciate that. We also do a 1 hour stream at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's Pugs and Parker with E. That's the second one that we do. All of that for just a little tip. Look, I'm your bartender. If you hang out, help us out. We love you. We love you. We love your help. All right.
I have got my poetry. I have got my songs. They see me through the lonely nights. Help me to be strong. I am like the dancing bear, trained to be the best.
You know what I didn't do? I just realized I didn't. Hold on. I'm gonna restart this because I didn't look and see what's trending. Stop that. I didn't take a quick run through of all the things that have been trending and happening since we signed on here at noon. Well, let me see. Do we have anything new? Does we have anything new? The Met Gala. You know me. I'm not going to talk about the Met Gala. Unless the potato salad went bad, I don't have anything to say about the Met Gala. Those people are awful. Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs seems to be trending. Why is Henry Ruggs trending? Henry Ruggs is remember, he's the Oakland Raiders wide receiver who killed that lady in I don't know if he was drunk driving or what, but we had the video. She was sitting at a stoplight and he comes roaring up. Ex-Raider wide receiver Henry Ruggs to plead guilty in fatal DUI case. Ruggs will serve 3 to 10 years in the Nevada State Prison. If convicted, Ruggs had faced a minimum of 2 years and up to 50 years in prison. All right. Former Raiders first-round pick Henry Ruggs will plead guilty to DUI resulting in death. All right, so we got that. Man, it's easy to turn him into a total monster. It is. It's easy to be angry at him, and you can be angry at him, but man, that's just it. He made a mistake. He made a mistake that a whole bunch of people make. A whole bunch of people drive drunk. I don't. I've had, I've had a couple of situations, so that's kind of fool me once, shame on me, right? That's not something I'm really into. Especially now, there's no reason for it with Uber. I don't get why it's still a thing. People do, though. People do. Don't lose sight of the girl. Don't forget this young woman whose life was taken by this. I don't know. Here's the other problem. I don't know what kind of a person Henry Ruggs was before this. Henry Ruggs, to me, was a high draft pick who was an exciting young wide receiver in the NFL. Didn't know anything else about him. And then this happens. I don't know if... Was he charming? Was he funny? Was he a good guy? Did teammates love? You know what I mean? People are complicated. You can be all of those things and just have this instance where something terrible happens. That's what life is. I keep telling you, man. I'm telling you, we cannot be defined by just one thing that we've done. Our lives are a work in progress. It is every day try and make up for either missteps of the past or ensure that you do have some good stuff in the bank for the future by, doing good stuff on a daily basis. Whatever it takes, doesn't matter. But Henry Ruggs, that's too bad. I am purposefully not thinking of the victim. I can do this. You can compartmentalize the victim. My God, heart goes out. Terrible. Life lost. But you can also look at the dude and go, man, that's a complicated situation. This dude really fucked up. You never want to be a cautionary tale, you know? And that's unfortunately what Henry Ruggs is for all these rookies who were drafted into the NFL. You don't think that when they go to their rookie meetings and they have to sit there in front of the NFL player personnel guy and all of that conduct officers and all that stuff, and they get on a stage and they teach them about what it's like being in the NFL. You don't think Henry Ruggs is now a cautionary tale? You better believe he is. Henry Ruggs probably thought he was going to the Hall of Fame. Now he's a cautionary tale for every incoming rookie class that the NFL will see for the next couple of generations. All right, that's it. I love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything. Again, tip the show if you can. If not, I still love you. We're still trying, man. We're trying. Bye, everybody.